learning English, speak one of these languages, this is the consonant sound that you need to be careful of the most. Hey guys, it's Jeff with Fluent American checking in again, and this time we're focusing on consonants. And naturally, you know, English is going to have sounds that not every other language has, and that can mean when you're learning English, there's a good chance there's going to be a sound that's new, that's different, that can be a little bit challenging to pronounce. So we're going to take a look at a variety of the most popular spoken languages in the world and identify a consonant sound in English that tends to be difficult. Obviously, you know, there's going to be other sounds too that I really recommend studying, but these are going to be the most problematic consonants for different language groups. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Starting with Italian and the H sound, H. So for instance, in a word like hockey, hockey, notice how strong that H is. What tends to happen in Italian, for Italian speakers in English, that H often gets dropped. So just saying things like occhi versus hockey. So make sure that that H sound is strong enough. There's another problem too. A lot of Italian speakers add H sounds into pairs of words, into sentences. So for instance, sometimes saying something like I ate becomes like I hate. So just again, be careful of H sounds. It can make things a little bit confusing. For Spanish speakers, you want to watch out for the letter B, which often gets confused for the letter V. Even that maybe was a little bit hard to compare. So look at these two words, best and vest. Best, vest. For the B sound, all you're doing is pressing your lips together and releasing. B, best. But for the V sound, vest, your top tooth right here is going to touch your lower lip. Right here. You want to make sure there's contact. V. So again, compare best and vest. Best, vest. For Indian languages like Hindi or Bengali or Urdu, you want to watch out for TH sounds. What tends to happen for a lot of Indian speakers learning English is they turn THs into Ts or Ds, especially in rapid speech. So for instance, a lot of times like thin may become like tin, or them might become like dem. So you want to be careful with THs. My biggest suggestion for TH, the tip of your tongue, right there, makes contact with your top front tooth. So like th. Just practice doing that. See if you can hold it for 2 or 3 seconds, like th or the. You want to practice holding it. Don't press so hard. It's not a very forceful sound or a strong sound in English. You want air to always be moving through your mouth. If you block it, you're going to get that t or the sound. So just be careful. Compare, for instance, these words. Thin, tin. Thin, tin. And they, day. They, day. For our Portuguese speaking friends, you want to watch out for the letter R. What tends to happen in English, again, R sounds are strong. We just made a video about this, right? You can check that out. The back of your tongue is high. Front of your tongue can either be down or curled up. And again, it's like r, r. What tends to happen in Portuguese, though, it's a different sound for the letter, right? So when you see an R, often gets pronounced to something similar to an H in English. So for instance, a word like red in English, red, sometimes Portuguese speakers will pronounce like head. So just be careful. So again, red, head, red, head. For my Chinese speaking friends, like Mandarin or Cantonese speakers or other dialects in China, you want to watch out for the letter N. The big reason for this is that a lot of Chinese dialects and languages actually have multiple N sounds, whereas English only has one. So for instance, in English, a word like no, has the same N sound as a word like on. The front of your tongue touches the top of your mouth. For a lot of words though, in especially Mandarin Chinese, where the N sound is at the end of the word, that is actually going to be a different sound. So for instance, the back of the tongue is going to rise, but the front of the tongue is going to drop. For instance, this word here in English would be pronounced as men, men, though in a lot of Chinese dialects you get something more like meh, meh, where the back of the tongue goes high. So just be careful. Again, compare these. Men, men versus meh, meh. You want the first one with that stronger N sound. For Japanese speakers learning English, you want to watch out for L's and R's. The most common example is probably like lice and rice. Lice, rice. Key things here. For the L sound, the tip of your tongue is touching the top of your mouth. L, l, especially at the start or in the middle of words. For the R sound, you can keep the tip of your tongue away. Don't make contact with the top of your mouth. It can rise, but don't make contact, and also make sure the back of your tongue is high. So again, rice, lice, rice, lice. For my Russian-speaking friends, you want to watch out for the NG sound. So for instance, a word like thing, thing. The key here is to make sure that the back of your tongue rises and the front of your tongue goes down. So again, like ng, ng, thing. Practice words like this. Thing, thin, thing, thin. Or sing, sin, sing, sin. For Arabic speakers, I'm sure you're already aware, you want to watch out for P's and B's. The mouth position in English is identical for both of these. You're just pressing your lips together for like a p or a b sound and then releasing. They're called plosives because you get lots of air moving. The key difference though is your throat. For the P sound, there's no vibration. If you put your hand here, you don't feel anything. It's just p, p, p. Not really much movement. But when you make the B sound though, you're going to feel some movement right here. B, b, b. You can even hold it, right? B. Okay, you should really make sure that your throat's vibrating. So be careful with P's and B's. Voiceless P, voiced B. For instance, pie, bye, pie, bye. For Korean speakers, you want to watch out for the letter L. Again, making sure that you're getting enough contact with the tip of your tongue and the top of your mouth, especially when the L is at the start of words or in the middle. So for instance, a word like low, low. Make sure you're getting that L sound really clear. L, L. Some other things that are going to help with this too. The back of your tongue should be down. And like we've talked about before, for placement, you want to make sure you're feeling this sound low in the throat and it's relaxed. La, la. You don't want to force the sound too strong. That might make the sound come off as too stressed and too tense. Lots of air should move through your throat. And again, tip of your tongue making contact. So again, like low, low, or least, least. For my Farsi speakers, you want to watch out for the V sound. And again, the big difference between a V and a W in English. For a V, again, top tooth makes contact right here on your lower lip. It's like the, versus a W sound like w, w. Where again, notice that my lips are a little bit round, but there's no contact with the tooth. So again, like w. So for instance, compare vest and west. Vest, west. For German speakers, it's going to be the same thing with those V's and W's that we just mentioned for Farsi. So make sure you listen to that section pretty well. Again, compare vest, west, vest, west, or veer, weir, veer, weir. And last but not least, our French speakers, you want to watch out for the R sound. Remember, in American English, it's a much stronger sound. So this is going to be true at the start of words. So for instance, a word like rough, rough, making sure that you're really feeling that towards the back of the throat. Ruh, ruh. Or even at the ends of words. So for instance, like bar, bar. Make sure that those R sounds are strong enough, back of tongue high enough, front of tongue curling up most often, especially for me. Also, again, make sure for R sounds that the sound is really coming from low in the throat and it's relaxed enough. For more practice on that, definitely check out our last video, which talked about it in a little bit more detail. There is one concept that everyone is struggling with, and that typically is placement. Not sure what placement is? You really need to check this out because it's going to change the entire way you speak.